lights off, you turn the camera off, and I'll be naked when you come back.
Ladies and gentlemen and listeners all around the world, welcome to the one, the only People's Pipe Bomb. I had the questions when I was a lad. I had the questions. Oh, those are the questions? I had the black and gold questions.
Those were the answers.
Yeah, those are the answers. Those are like the
with the face on the bottom.
I thought I had the question. I got the cheaper one, whichever one that was.
The questions probably were. The answers probably were cheaper than the questions. These are classics.
I thought it was the golden. I thought I had the gold and black questions. I'd have to go.
Those are the answers. I know they're like. They look like they zipper up, but they don't zipper up.
I don't know. I have to Google that shit. Anyway, welcome to the People's Pipe Bomb Podcast, the wrestling podcast where we lobby for the jobbers, advertise for the body guys, and amuse the marks while we recap and react to the week in wrestling. I'm joined as always by my co-host, starting over here with the doctor of wrestling psychology, Dr. Grayson Board. How you doing today?
I'm doing well. I watched Toy Story 4 for the first time earlier today, and it was a very delightful experience.
Now 3 was the one where they almost got burned in a trash compactor. What happens in 4? Spoiler alert.
4 is kind of about going through a midlife crisis. I feel like all the characters in 4 are going through a midlife crisis.
Vibes.
Yeah. So it spoke to me.
And over here on my right, we got 2 T's, 2 D's, so you better get down on both knees. The Archduke of Disaster, Fat Rod, ladies and gentlemen.
Listen. Thank you for the beautiful intro, 4 bars of love.
He's ready to bar you up.
But what I like to have right now is for all you uninformed, unqualified, insane, idiotic, irrelevant, irritating insects to have a seat and sit back and enjoy some real wrestling talk by some real wrestling geniuses. Fellas, how are we doing?
I'm doing good, baby. I'm ready to conquer the world after that shit. I'm ready to run through a wall.
Yeah,
I miss
let's do
you
it.
guys, yo.
Yeah,
I
for
miss
real.
you too, man. We've been off for a minute. We had one successful, amazing podcast, and now we took a little break to celebrate.
Yes.
Yeah, with a little bit of the bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly. I was on vacay in South America. Check out my Instagram, Cole Keith. I gotta put more pics in there. I gotta do, you know what my man Drake said on Scorpion about ladies who go on vacay and then don't post about it for 6 months just to make it look like they got shit popping when they don't?
Oh.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. But anyway, getting back into it, I'd like to catch up with some things that we missed while we were gone. First of all, big happenings a few weeks ago was the WWE Draft. For those of you that are not familiar with the concept, yes, WWE has a draft or a mock draft or a kayfabe draft, however you want to think of it. 2002 was the first one. WCW went out of business and they absorbed a lot of wrestlers, and WWE was a monopoly. They were just a total monolith out there in the wrestling world at the time. So they said, shit, how do we have parity and structure to our 2 shows? Let's split it up and have different dudes, a different roster for each show. So they do this basically every year in some capacity to kind of shake it up. What are you guys' thoughts in general on the WWE draft as a concept?
Every year, because they do this like after WrestleMania usually, right?
Usually.
Every year I watch WrestleMania and I get kind of hype about WWE after WrestleMania because of WrestleMania, and I'm like, oh man, the draft, I'm actually going to tune into Raw. And then I do, and then whatever. It winds up being inconsequential like 2 or 3 weeks later, 1 week later.
It depends on the year. Last year they had the wild card rule. I don't know.
They're still trying stuff, man.
Yeah.
The landscape of wrestling is still so open with how things is quote unquote how it's supposed to be. They still just trying things. Everybody's trying stuff. We're going to see. I'm not mad at the draft. I did think you needed to, put some dudes on certain shows and get back to rebuilding the brands of the shows also. So it's like I'm not mad at it, even though it just didn't work out as hype as they made it out to be.
Well, yeah, how did you think about the execution of it? Because it was Raw versus SmackDown, but they set it up more like about the networks. Because SmackDown's on Fox now, Raw's on USA. They set it up as if the networks
trying
were
something
drafting.
different.
Yeah,
trying something different.
How'd you feel that presentation went? Like,
I mean,
did it feel for you?
It seems like they probably really did like the networks pick.
That's true.
It's like I don't know if that made any sense. Like
That's a shoot. Because why the fuck else would you put Bray Wyatt on Fox where they have Tony Gonzalez and random ass NFL guys talking about shit on SmackDown?
Yeah.
Makes no goddamn sense.
That was the funny thing about the draft to me. They had like Troy Aikman and a bunch of like old football guys. Like Joe Buck was there. Like it was like the NFL draft.
And they didn't know any of the new dudes,
and
so
that
all the
was kind of the
references
thing.
they were just barred us.
Check this
I
though.
was there.
Check this though.
American
Check this
Bash
though.
92, Ric Flair, what up?
One, it's mingling that part of the sports world with a different part of the sports world. Trying to create a bigger fan base. But look at it like this. AEW does that a lot with TNT. If you realize during the basketball games on TNT, Marv Albert shouting out Kenny Omega, that's my guy, Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Like, I literally heard that the other day. And it's just like, we got to get a knowing and some type of understanding to at least genuinely, speak about each other when we're not around each other when the cameras is on and shit. So
That's totally true. That's a good point, Rod, because Jericho was on Inside the NBA with Chuck and Shaq and those dudes, and that was a great segment. And I don't think that the NFL dudes on Fox being in the draft was a problem. I thought that actually worked. The only criticism I have, beforehand, I would have assumed that you would put your more sports entertainment dudes on Raw. Like, you would have it more, Raw would be more heavy with character type of wrestlers, and that SmackDown would have more real sports, like the Brock Lesnar types, or the Daniel Bryan works well because he's like a very athletic, technical kind of guy. But I think it's shook up and split in a different way, like you said. I thought Bray's the biggest draw right now for the net, arguably for the company. They were like,
I just want to stop you right there. Who draws more money than Brock Lesnar?
Right, I was going to say Brock Lesnar probably.
But they fucking moved him off of SmackDown.
I think he moved himself off of SmackDown.
I would just put it like this. Let's not overthink it, because I think they were just trying to, make it look balanced. If this person is going first overall, this person should probably go second overall. It was decent in the order that I'll just say players, that the players were selected. Yeah. I didn't feel like, the number 10 overall pick should have went second, and the number 3 overall pick should have been 15th.
Well, yeah, Becky went first, Roman went second.
Like, that's legit. And it's like they're putting Becky over with the gimmick, sending her first.
For those who didn't see last year, they did the wild card rule, which was just some random stuff. They sort of invented it so that you can have anybody on any show at any time.
They just wanted more opportunities to put Roman on TV.
Yeah.
Well, Roman wasn't even on.
That's true. Roman actually might not have even been
I'm
there.
going to shoot Roman some bail because he was out with like a fucking terrible illness while most of that shit was going on.
True.
But I get your point. I think the idea was like, we only have so many people that we feel are over, and we just want to make sure that we can spread them out. All right, next thing that happened while we were away that I thought was interesting. Long time coming for this one. Bailey turns heel.
That haircut is fucking gorgeous.
You like that? You like that Karen? Like, you like she's going to speak to you? Are you the manager in this fantasy and she's trying to speak to you?
I feel she got like a low-key Matrix thing going on now. I like Bailey. I was wondering how she was going to get rid of that hugger thing, but, she got some good theme music now, and it's like that haircut worked out. And she got them abs. They're like abs of steel, so, I'm all Bailey right now.
She's always looked like she could be tough as shit.
Yeah,
because she's
I hope she figures
shape.
out how to like become more of a boss than Sasha, and then her and Sasha can go back to feuding. Yeah. Like, I feel like that's still the best rivalry in women's wrestling. Them being together and best friends, they're not really at each other's neck. How good they can always be. Like Triple H and Shawn Michaels, I think that's a feud that we didn't see a whole lot of, but we seen just enough, like to like see like they got great chemistry together.
Yeah. Shout out my dude, R.I.P. Chris Benoit. They had that sweet triple threat match.
Hey. Oh, yeah. It was a classic.
WrestleMania 20, triple threat match. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Chris Benoit for the belt. That was a great match.
Was that not the best triple threat at WrestleMania ever?
That might be. I fucking loved it. I remember watching it like a year afterwards, knowing the results, screaming at the TV. Like, oh, fucking pin him!
No.
I'm glad that we're not WWE right now, and that we're actually mentioning the name Chris Benoit and talking about who
I'm
was
going
a
to just get this off my
fantastic
chest
wrestler.
because
He was
I
a
got to
great
just throw it
wrestler.
out there every time I mention it. Kevin Sullivan did that shit. End of story.
Oof.
Chris
Damn,
Benoit
son.
took that man's wife. He had that one coming. He had that one coming for a long time.
Hey, I've read up, man. That shit's true. The dirt sheets don't lie. Kevin Sullivan, we're gonna lock you up, bro.
Listen.
Citizens arrest. Me and Fat Rod are coming for you.
I'm telling you, no, that's real rap, man.
Grayson, what do you think about
Bang, bang, bang.
Don DeMarco.
Oof, man, it's getting spicy in here.
hot ass sizzling takes? Grayson, what do you think of the Bailey turn?
Oh, I love it. I've hated the gimmick. She's such a good wrestler. I've hated her gimmick for such a long time. And so I popped super hard watching this. I was very happy about it. It's interesting that Bailey kind of had this Lisa Frank gimmick.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen Bailey for the past several years, like her whole gimmick from NXT coming up to the main roster is that she's a hugger. And she's got a side ponytail, and like Grayson just said, she's basically like if you took a Lisa Frank folder and made it come to life. She's just like, oh wow, everything's lovely, and she's got the wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube men. It was fun for a minute. I liked her face gimmick for a time, but
It got old
quick.
It got old.
Yeah.
It seems like she's getting older before our eyes. That she,
Low-key.
Yeah,
that
she's,
she
like,
like,
maturing.
yeah,
Low-key.
she was like a child. That was her old gimmick, and now she's like in this rebellious teenage.
I mean, she's been
angsty
on
phase.
TV regularly for like what, 5-6 years now?
Yeah.
Almost. Like she's definitely maturing. It was probably time to drop that shit.
She's like a TV adolescent, man. She's in her like
Now-
emo phase.
Yeah,
She's
now-
like-
yeah.
Actually, I will say real quick about her heel move and her acting. It is like an angsty emo teenager because she's not like straight up being like a Triple H style like dickhead. Like, hey, everybody in this town can suck my balls. She's just like, I don't care. You guys are bad. You're mean to me. You suck. I don't even want to be here.
Yeah,
Fuck this.
yeah, she's like very apathetic. She's just.
I
like,
wouldn't be mad if she dropped the belt soon, and then they like her and Sasha really focus on the tag titles. Like,
Yeah.
the women's tag division isn't legitimized yet. Like it's good,
Yeah.
but all the makeshift tag teams isn't legit.
So Seth Rollins and The Fiend continued their storyline. We talked about Hell in a Cell and the fucking shitstorm debacle that was on our last podcast. In the meantime, between recordings, we had the storyline continue with, I gotta say, some of the worst promo work by Seth Rollins. Like, he's not necessarily known these days for some good promos, but I remember right before I left, he cut one, I want to say on SmackDown, where he was like, you know what? He almost killed me, and I had to hit him with a hammer, but let me tell you something. We're in the great city of Milwaukee, or wherever the fuck they were, and just trying to get some cheap pops, and then was like, but guess what? I'm going to take the fight to him. I'm going fiend hunting. And I was like, bro, just get on the L. It took Rodney 80 minutes to get here.
No doubt, no doubt, and it's only a 32-minute ride.
For real.
and it's the middle of the afternoon, and
On a
there's
Saturday, ladies and gentlemen. Which
a lot of
reminds
people
me,
nodding out on that
Which
L.
reminds me, kids, don't do drugs.
Please don't. Parents, ride your kids through Kensington and then talk to them.
Yeah,
Let them
for
know,
real.
This is not what you want.
Say your prayers, eat your vitamins, don't do your drugs, all that cool shit.
yeah. Listen to Cool
Remember
Keith.
when wrestling was making kids great?
But, so, cutting some goofy promos. He burns down the Firefly Funhouse on one episode, which to me didn't make much sense.
Yeah, it didn't make much sense. And like, what did that accomplish? Like, it
He had renter's insurance and got a new one.
he got a new one the very next week. it was so weird. That was such a weird segment.
Also, where is the Firefly Funhouse is in the stadium IRL, but like in kayfabe, where the fuck? I just don't know.
It's like Sesame Street. Like,
Yeah,
Can you
exactly.
tell me how to get? It's like this
Seth
weird.
Rollins. Seth's calling up his boys Bert and Ernie, like, yo, where do I'm gonna commit arson. Where's this dude live? They had a Falls Count Anywhere match at Crown Jewel. The Fiend wins the Universal Championship. That's sort of the bookend for now on that program. I got some questions regarding the program here. First of all, with the Seth Rollins promos, I gotta say this. Is Seth Rollins the new Roman Reigns? Is Seth Rollins getting that Roman Reigns heat?
Seth Rollins is what the people wanted, and the people got Seth Rollins. We have gotten Seth Rollins up and down since he fucking retired Sting. The fans wanted Seth Rollins to get the belt, never lose, always have the belt. Fuck Roman, and we'd rather see Seth every week. And it's now, do you really want to see Seth every week? The fans got to stop bitching about who has the belts. The belts don't matter. They're not real titles. You know, it's like people are put in position to wear these belts. So it's like, what are you really angry about? It's the fans' fault. WWE gave the fans what they wanted because they act like WWE never listens. You got what you wanted. Now we're tired of it.
I feel like I'm definitely in the camp of like, I wanted to see Seth get more of a push, and then he got the push, and I'm like, I don't know about this. Maybe this isn't what I thought I wanted after all.
We gotta like be careful what we
ask
for, like how we ask for it. You know, it's like I don't feel like WWE ignores the fans as much as they say they do. And people mad that their favorite goes to WWE, and then they're just in a log jam with 100 other superstars.
They have too many wrestlers.
Yes.
My feeling about this is that for years, Roman Reigns was getting pushed by the company, and all the smarks out there were like, I'm sick of Roman Reigns being shoved down my face. Vince just loves Roman Reigns. It's gotta be Roman Reigns. I was with him in the sense that the Roman Reigns shit didn't do it for me. His in-ring stuff is good, but he's got the whole superhero gimmick. His character's really flat, and I feel like the Superman punch is the worst fucking finisher of all time because two things. One, closed fist punching. I know we don't pay attention to rules anymore. A closed fist punch is illegal, and he does it in front of the fucking...
it's not a closed fist punch. It's a Superman punch.
He punches a guy in front of the ref, and it's legal, and that's dumb. One. Two, he jumps up in the air, cocks his arm back, and throws a punch in midair. It's safe, but... Dude, there's absolutely no power behind throwing a punch midair. Like, grounding your feet is how a punch gets any torque. It would never be a big deal. Anyway.
So, in the words of the great Buzz Lightyear, he was just falling in style. Yeah.
My man was falling in style.
Like, when you see Roman Reigns and it looks like he's going to jump and punch the shit out of you, it's just believable.
I mean, it's believable in the way that, like, Roman Reigns is a big-ass dude.
He's not that tall. I mean, like, you ever see him punch
I dare either of you to get into a fight today and jump up into a punch and see what happens.
But look, he only jumps when guys in a daze.
Alright, but I digress. Reasoning here why I thought about Roman in the Seth promos and Seth getting all the heat after Hell in a Cell. Seth is getting the heat because of booking decisions from the company and because his promos aren't hitting really well. Partly, I think, because the writing is bad, partly because his delivery is a little flat, which is basically the same sort of shit with Roman. He got pushed and booked in a way that people didn't like. The promos seemed sort of overworked, and the phrasing and the writing was kind of stale and not that creative. And everybody said, I'm bored by this. Yeah. And so he's getting, in my opinion, it's just plug and play. To your point, Rod, people wanted Seth Rollins. They gave you what you wanted with Seth Rollins. But the thing that people got to understand is it's not one wrestler over the other. What people really want is like a different writing style. The reason why a lot of wrestling fans are jazzed on some random AEW shit is not because the wrestlers are better than WWE, because they're not. They don't have a very deep roster. But they just let people talk. And half of those dudes can talk pretty well. The promos come off better because they're a little less worked, they're a little less rehearsed. I think that's the big problem. I think people are pushing back against the structure of how WWE lays out promos and storylines. Because Seth Rollins, everybody says Seth Rollins is a great in-ring worker. I agree.
Also, though, I feel like his talking on social media, I think, is also one of the things that's making him...
Internet smarks fucking hate Seth Rollins because he's on social media defending WWE like he's a goddamn religious conservative.
Hey, they paying that check, baby.
Yeah, and you know he's sticking up for his guys and blah blah blah. I get why he's doing it.
He sounds like Ben Shapiro. He sounds like a Trump supporter just saying some shit.
It's gonna sound like hate, man, but it's Becky Lynch's fault, man. It's because she's the man and he's not.
So my next question related to that was, Now that Seth is sort of in this, I don't know if they're going to go forward with him as the main babyface on Raw.
Right now,
Who do you think they got to plug into that if they had to pivot?
Ricochet.
Ricochet.
Absolutely.
That's a good choice.
I'm always in favor of more Ricochet.
You guys aren't feeling, what if they push my man Rusev as the main face on some cuck shit?
Hey, Rusev and Ricochet, I would definitely be down for that, FYI.
I'll tell you what, the whole Rusev storyline, we're not going to talk about it later, so I might as well just get into it real fast. Nothing good. It's still just doing the whole, like, he's Bobby Lashley coming out on crutches because he pulled his groin, fucking man's wife, is the nastiest shit on modern WWE in years.
Yo, she probably really got caught fucking him.
That's true. In
like,
old WWE, that would be what would have made this storyline happen. So maybe that is, Vince is going into the bag of old tricks of like, art imitating life.
Or, you know what? It's 2019. Let's just like play fucking fantasy bedroom booker. Maybe Rusev and Lana are on some open marriage shit. You never know. Maybe like, yo, Bobby, I got this idea. We're gonna do this angle. Make sure you come out in crutches like you just had snoo.
Like you just had
Shout out Futurama fans.
Lord have mercy.
Moving on to the next part, I want to talk about The Fiend really briefly before we move on. So he won at the title at Crown Jewel. I thought the match was okay. I understand that it was sort of a rehash, but I thought they did better character work with it than they did at Hell in a Cell. And the finish at Hell in a Cell really just like ruined everything. The Crown Jewel match was okay.
I was gonna say I personally didn't. Like you were saying, it felt like a rehash. Again, it's like hardly even a wrestling match.
Did we hate Crown Jewel?
Yeah, we watched that together.
We did watch it together. Well, Keith was in South America.
Protesting.
Yeah, I personally didn't like the match. It felt like a rehash. And I thought the end was kind of corny.
He's a horror movie character as a wrestler, and they put him over on Halloween. I don't know what the fuck they're doing with the championship run, because he's on the SmackDown roster. He wins the Universal Championship, which is historically the Raw Championship. Because of this, Brock moves to Raw just to separate the belts again. So I didn't see it coming because I didn't think they'd let him win because of the brand split, but he did. What do you think they got planned for him as the champ? How would you book his title run?
Did you say plan?
Yeah, how would you book
WWE
it?
plan?
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, I personally don't know how I would book it. You said Aleister Black, that makes some sense. I think The Fiend is a really hard wrestler to book.
I would build his stable. Like I would figure out who I want to align with him to protect the belt and protect him. Two, he can send people instead of always having to show up. Like, he's not one of those characters where it's like, all right, you're going to have the belt for 90 days. You got to wrestle, 8 televised matches, 3 pay-per-views, Like, it's not going to be like that. Like, he's probably going to show up. He's going to do more promo work than anything, wrestle at more pay-per-views than anything. But it's just like, you do got to put the right people. Like, is the babyface dead in WWE?
Yes.
I think that's.
We were just talking about it. There's not a lot of options.
I mean, you have like Becky. Becky's a baby face, or like Ricochet.
When in doubt, always call AJ Styles.
AJ's heel now though. Do you want AJ working? So to go back to Firefly, do you want AJ popping up on Firefly Funhouse as like the Cowboy Curtis to his like Pee Wee Herman?
Evan.
So I know the last podcast I made some proclamations. We talked a little bit about Crown Jewel ahead of time, and I said that we were not going to talk about Crown Jewel. But what I really said, if you listen to me, so I could double back on this shit, was that we weren't going to recap and break it down. And I'm going to stick to that because, like we just said, like Rod and Grayson just said, they watched Crown Jewel. It wasn't that great of a pay-per-view overall.
We watched it on a whim. We happened to be in the same place at the same time when it was happening, and we decided to turn it on.
Good defense. Just hanging out on a Thursday afternoon.
We were babysitting.
Sometimes you gotta babysit. You know what? That's what family's for, man. Again, kids, don't do drugs. Babysit your
we have a
cousins
really
and
active
shit.
little cousin, yo.
Yeah, for sure.
Sit them down, make them watch Braun Strowman.
Yeah, he definitely was watching some Greatest Royal Rumble.
Like I said, if it affects the storylines outside of there, like we already talked about the Universal Championship match, there's a couple other things that I thought were interesting. There was the first ever women's match in Saudi Arabia at the Crown Jewel, Natalya versus Lacey Evans. And it goes down with both wrestlers wearing full body suits and extra baggy modesty t-shirts sort of over top. It looks like they sort of, I can't tell if they like changed shit up on the fly and they were just going to wear like some normal like cat suits. And then somebody backstage was like, you got any like shitty merch?
No, I mean, I kind of expected that. You know, like, Natty's attire is revealing as hell if you're sitting in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah,
like,
it's true.
Like, it'd have been all type of wood growing out them seats. You gotta play respectful, especially outside the country. Like, if y'all want to wrestle there, let's just play by their rules. Like, I thought it was pretty good though. Like, I thought they were gonna have on bigger t-shirts. So
you know what was interesting about that? So Natty wins with the sharpshooter, I want to say, and they
are they making Natty great again?
They're making Natty great again. Is that like Naga? Natty America? No, that don't work.
I think, she's a heart. She gets some just due. Yeah.
She is owed some backlog shit because her ability.
They talked about her dead daddy on TV.
Yeah, right? I remember that. Yeah, that was.
They owe Natty.
That was dark as shit. And
it was great though. I thought it was great.
It was great. They brought out like a standee. It was her and Ruby Riott. They brought out like a standee of his dead ass, and she's like, "I'm gonna put you through a table with your dad on it."
Damn.
Yes. Oh, that was
anything to make women's wrestling good. Huh? Don't talk about my dead dad. It's gonna be beef.
And they both celebrate together essentially as this was a big moment for women's wrestling, which rightly so it was. To your point, Rod, there is more or less a law on the books in Saudi Arabia where foreign women have to dress, quote, modestly and sort of tone down stuff.
Yeah.
Well, what it's interesting, though, because if you watch the pay-per-view, and I did watch this segment, there are women in the audience who are dressed more regularly, dare I even say, quote-unquote, revealing than the wrestlers. But I think it's because of the stage that they have and because of the rules with foreigners and stuff where they're just like, they don't want to step on any toes.
They wanted to make history, and it's just like, we're not on our grounds. So it's just like, you got to play by the rules. Like, if that's how they want it, do what you got to do to get it done.
What did you make of the way the match was hyped and presented as like the first women's match? Like, how did you feel that all of that, and also the match itself? How did you feel that all went down?
I was more happy because it was happening. It was like I was still at an awe because I didn't think this shit would ever happen.
What I want to bring up, which I think is very interesting, is they were doing this angle. They were doing a program between Natty and Lacey Evans for a little bit. Solid matches with it. Nothing really too much to talk about, but what I thought was interesting with this was they made up beforehand and they did this match as a face versus face mutual respect competition of skills match. Do you think that was just organic with the characters, or do you think WWE or perhaps Saudi Arabia, the Crown Prince himself, or somebody in the government said, listen, we can't have the sassy Southern Belle in Saudi Arabia getting booed? Do you think the presentation of that, do you think it might have been too hot for TV, too extreme for them to promote a woman character being that like vulgar and in your face and such? And two, do you think they were concerned about, if we have a woman getting booed in Saudi Arabia, does that make the audience look bad? Even though it's a heel, you're supposed to boo this person. Does it just look bad if a whole crowd in Saudi Arabia is booing the shit out of a woman?
That's a good point. I hadn't really thought about any of that.
Depends on who you are and where you are.
I'm like, I don't know.
No, like,
I'm overthinking it.
Let me ask you this. Is booing bad? We don't boo anymore? We don't boo wrestlers anymore?
I just think it's just the optics of the Saudi Arabia situation. You know, like, let's say there's like sound, like video clip or whatever, WWE showing like I'm sure in WWE's narcissistic minds, like, this is going to be super viral and everybody's going to be talking about the first women's match in Saudi Arabia, you know, and they don't want the crowd to be booing something, potentially. Yeah. Or also, like, I don't know, I mean, cultural differences type thing, like.
But this all sort of gets at the other point that I think is sort of behind all this, Grayson. Yes, doing this match is groundbreaking, and it's the first of its kind. But it's also a PR move for a totalitarian government. Rather than clean up their human rights shit, they'll be like, you know what? Let the ladies wrestle for once. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I feel like that they don't want to step on any extra toes, because just by doing it, it's sort of a PR move trying to promote progress in a country where, it's nominal progress. It's stuff like they're still locking people up and torturing political prisoners, but they'll let women drive and wrestle every once in a while.
I kind of hated Crown Jewel in general.
It's cool.
Even though we watched the whole thing.
Even though we watched the entire stupid thing. I can't believe that I watched that.
The moment you've been waiting for, if you've been on the internet with wrestling the past few weeks, the conspiracy theory to end all conspiracy theories. Why did the plane not fly? Why, Rod? Why?
Snakes? I don't know.
Were there snakes on the plane, Rod?
Listen, everybody didn't get the Brock Lesnar jet treatment, all right? Brock Lesnar flew back. He wasn't staying over that motherfucker.
Brock took an F5.
Yeah, personal jet. So happens when you fly commercial.
Yo, Brock went on first and said, fuck this, I am leaving this country in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Get the jet ready.
Yeah. Him, Kane, and Ray. It's out of there.
So
drinking champagne, laughing.
The bubbly.
A little bit of the bubbly. So if you were not familiar with this whole thing that went down, WWE talent gets stuck on the tarmac at the airport in Saudi Arabia after the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. WWE claims that this is due to the planes having mechanical issues. But the dirt sheet gossip is that the Saudi government kept the planes from flying out of retaliation for Vince refusing to air the pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia until they got paid for past shows. The claim is that Saudi Arabia was behind several $1 million on paying Vince, and he was saying, listen, you fuckers, if you don't give me my money right now, I'm pulling the plug on this shit. Mm-hmm. That conspiracy theory is backed up by a couple of things that I think Meltzer and a couple other journalists uncovered. The live feed in Saudi Arabia was on a 45 minute delay, prompting some people to think that the reason why the delay happened is they started the show without Vince's permission to put it on as a live feed. It could also just be technical problems. The thing that I love about this conspiracy theory is that, like all good conspiracy theories, the easiest answer is that none of this happened, and that's also totally logical, but I just love bullshitting about this. So secondarily, the live feed is about 45 minutes late, and WWE received that day during the program a payment of $60 million from an undisclosed source. Most people are saying it's probably the Kingdom.
The oil god.
Exactly. Dude, the oil god would be such a great character. Anyway.
Oh, I was going to say, that would be a great rap name.
So,
oil god.
Let's talk some shit. What do you guys think happened?
I think Triple H said, I got a fucking great idea. We're taking some of you guys off the show for tomorrow. Let's not show up. I'm going to send my guys. I just feel like it was set up for NXT to do the invasion angle that way.
So you think it was a straight work from WWE?
Yes. I mean,
that's a new take.
It's very possible. I don't know what the ride is from USA to Saudi Arabia, but I'm pretty sure it's a hike.
Hours.
I'm pretty sure it's a hike.
Yeah.
And it's just like with that show starting at 4:00 the day before, then you got to be over here and probably wrestling in the next 24 hours. It's probably not happening for everybody. So those who were home, they got to the arena. They came up with some bright ideas. Triple H has the keys now. So he just drove this bitch all week.
If you are at all interested in this conspiracy theory, just go to the Squared Circle subreddit, and I'm sure there's a thread where 80 million dudes are on there. I guarantee you what happened was the Fiend pulled the fucking brakes on me. The thing on the wing, from Twilight Zone.
Yeah. See, I was thinking that Triple H came and put a banana in their muffler. the muffler of the plane, because of course planes have mufflers. He stuck a banana in the tailpipe. Yes.
I'm just saying, if we want to go straight up Attitude Era, I don't think there would be a better program than heel versus heel, Vince, Mr. McMahon versus the Crown Prince.
Oh my gosh, yes.
I'm just saying, who would win in a match between the Crown Prince and Vince?
McMahon with the squash.
And what is the stipulation?
Ooh.
$60 million on a pole match.
Oh yeah, that sounds pretty good actually.
An oiled pole.
Yo,
Yeah.
What if Vince McMahon can win that match and gas gets lowered in America?
And gaskets on yeah.
25 cents off a gallon.
Yeah.
If Vince would... Yo, that's the only way to turn Vince's face.
Yeah.
Everybody's
Vince
gonna be like,
McMahon.
boy, I hate that Vince McMahon, but every time I go to Shell...
That's like scoring like 100 points in a basketball game, or like the other team like missing 2 free throws and getting
Vince
free
like
Frosties.
Equivalent to Trump in the wrestling world?
Yeah.
I mean, they're boys.
Yeah.
They're
Vince
boys.
works like... Yo, Vince definitely works like Trump on some, like, creating his own reality. He's on some shit like that. They don't want to see that.
You
That's
bought a
good
universe.
shit.
I am the universe. I'm the president of the universe.
Yeah, is Linda still in Trump's like cabinet or whatever?
Yeah, Linda McMahon, I think, is still like a small business secretary, despite the fact that their business is a publicly traded multi-billion-dollar company. Anyway, so as Rod was alluding to, since the planes didn't take off, they had to scramble and figure out what to do back in Buffalo, New York, in time for Friday Night SmackDown. So WWE had to shuffle the programming around, and as such, the NXT roster flew in and invaded SmackDown. We got Shayna Baszler attacking Bayley after her match. Matt Riddle and Keith Lee beat the piss out of Sami Zayn in a good comedy spot. Tommaso Ciampa invades Miz TV, beats up Miz, wins in a singles match, going over. Rhea Ripley and Tegan Nox defeat Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville in a tag team match. And Daniel Bryan goes up against Adam Cole for the NXT Championship in the main event of last week's SmackDown. Adam Cole retains in a near classic for TV matches lately. Beats Daniel Bryan clean with a Panama Sunrise and a last shot. Basically everybody in the wrestling world was saying this is the best SmackDown they've seen in years. And if those planes did not take off, that show wouldn't have gone as it did. They basically hit it out of the park. They reshuffled some shit and knocked it out of the park. What do you guys think of that whole invasion angle as it started?
It was brilliant. It was just great. Definitely best SmackDown, best WWE show I've seen all year for sure. I don't even think it's close for me personally.
Triple H sold this the right way. I feel like he watched the 2001 invasion angle, fixed it in his head, figured out how to allude it to current day, and it worked. You had to take a few people who had to do some jobs. Like, shout out to The Miz. The Miz, to me, did a great job this week.
Oh, yeah.
A very important job for WWE, and that was putting Tommaso Ciampa over.
You know, I would say that Tommaso Ciampa beating The Miz is a good choice because The Miz, like you said, it's sort of believable.
He's over.
He's over. And The Miz has this ability where he's a former champion.
He beat John Cena at WrestleMania.
He's got credentials, so beating him is actually a big deal, and he did the job for him.
Right after the Miz's TV show, he did that job. That is great teamwork.
And he was the first person to go over that night from NXT, because NXT won all the matches that night, but Tommaso was the first one to win, so it could have gone either way at that point. A good presentation. Which part of the invasion angle here, which NXT angle did you like best from this show?
I like the Shawn Michaels tease at Daniel Bryan.
That was great. That was
the
great.
most. Before they cherry on topped it with Adam Cole. Like, how much better did that get from Daniel Bryan almost about to feud with Triple H to Shawn Michaels teasing a real return or a real match to, all right, well, fuck it. I'm going to just give you Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan as the main event. Like, thank you. It was executions at its finest.
Yeah, everything was masterfully done in this episode. It really was.
Do you think, Rod, you were alluding to it earlier, did they gave Triple H the keys on this one?
Yes, he is driving the Benz around town.
It looked like it from this show.
At least until the Survivor Series.
Do you think he's driving the car now? I don't know.
Yes.
Past 2 episodes,
Yes.
for me, have been lackluster.
Yes.
I think Triple H is driving the invasion angle
Okay.
and driving that build. Because I think last night's SmackDown, they only had Shayna come back very briefly. And I think overall it seemed like more of a Vince show. All right, let's get into the Monday Night Raw the following week. This past week, 11/4/19, the 4th of November. We're broadcasting live from the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island. NXT Evasion angle continues. We got Raw opening with Triple H coming out of an Escalade or some other dope-ass SUV with some blue lights underneath of it, and an undisclosed person in another rich soccer mom car. Seth Rollins comes out to cut a droopy dog promo about how he got beat and that he doesn't care what the fans think, and he's lost the energy to fight all the BS that's going on in the WWE right now. And then my man and yours, Triple H, comes out to the ring to do a couple things. One, show him how a real superstar cuts a motherfucking promo.
Oof.
Bars. Two, remind him that whenever Seth and his career are at a crossroads, he crosses paths with him. Triple H comes out of nowhere and sort of defines the next moment of Seth Rollins' whole thing.
That's his daddy.
That's his daddy, man.
His wrestling daddy.
Zaddy. Basically, Trips gives him the if you're not with us, you're against us spiel as it relates to the NXT invasion. Undisputed Era comes out. OC comes out. Big ass brawl happening to start the show. What do you guys think of Hunter inserting himself into the angle now on Raw, specifically putting himself front and center with it against Seth there? What do you feel about that?
Keeping it a bean. I'm not mad at that. I feel like Seth and Triple H still owe us probably 2 more matches before Triple H's official retirement. So them crossing paths is never a bad thing. I think it's going to look good on the Seth Rollins DVD when he's like 60, you know.
Selling him,
God forbid anytime soon,
selling him at the legacy events.
Yeah, it's like I think Triple H believes a lot in Seth Rollins, especially on trying to, pass down his ring leadership to him. Triple H knows he can't go forever. He's transitioned into, the leader of an organization. Triple H has taken in that role greatly, almost like Dusty Rhodes, I should say. It's like that's who Triple H reminds me of right now, of being able to understand the psychology of wrestling, understand just people's position in wrestling on a roster.
Triple H, possibly the best booker in America over the past couple of years.
Are we saying currently?
You said in America. Okay,
I'm saying America. Well, I'm saying that AEW is doing a very good job, but what I want to say is they're still new. So he's built himself a reputation of building these programs and making some really smart booking decisions. The only person in the world I think that maybe would be better is still Gato in New Japan, but that's about it.
That's what I was going to say. Gato does a pretty good job. But
That's why I said America.
Yeah, you're right. Exactly. That was a good distinction.
So Brock Lesnar is now on the Raw roster after saying that he quit SmackDown so he could stalk Rey Mysterio. So he shows up in the first half of Raw.
Wasted draft pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right.
With Paul Heyman. So they
did they get compensatory picks or something? I feel like I heard something about that they got future first rounders or something like that in that deal.
They could take that bullshit. So he's stalking Rey Mysterio in the first half of the show. Paul Heyman is talking like the silver-tongued god that he is. He's flipping out and delivering some killer Brock Lesnar promos, saying that Brock Lesnar is gonna murder Rey Mysterio. And half his promos in Spanish and shit. I didn't even know what Paul Heyman was doing. He seemed like he was speaking in tongues. That dude is a genius. He's a god. He's the GOAT. Love Paul Heyman.
And he owes me $20.
For which pay-per-view?
Yeah.
But Ray comes out of nowhere and starts beating Brock's ass with a baseball bat. We already talked about this a little bit, but how do you feel about building Brock versus Ray for Survivor Series?
Not mad at it. It's been built. It's been building. Ray got a lot to get off his chest. He put hands on Rey Mysterio's son. Somebody has to die.
I find it interesting that they've been building this Brock Lesnar Rey Mysterio thing for a little bit, going back to the beginning of October with the first episode of SmackDown. Actually, even before that with the Raw we talked about on the last episode of the podcast. But it seems like this is a really convenient angle to have right now because it keeps them from having to commit to a champion versus champion match at Survivor Series, which I think would be a debacle if they were to go the route. Normally, it's champion versus champion, Universal Champ versus WWE Champ, and in this case, they would be adding NXT to Survivor Series. So it would have Adam Cole versus Brock Lesnar versus The Fiend. I think that is a tough match to book. I think it doesn't sound like a good match in ring either. I feel like it's a smart idea that they're avoiding it.
Yeah, that match helps nobody.
But Brock Lesnar versus Adam Cole would be good, knowing that the Undisputed Era would be getting involved. Who executes jumping in matches better than the Undisputed Era?
Undisputed Era is the best at that since...
Could you picture Brock pulling up at NXT and hunting the Undisputed Era?
See, that would be cool. That would actually be dope. Like, that would be dope.
Yo, Brock to NXT could save Brock's career.
I don't think as a triple threat it would work. It could work with Brock versus Cole. You could really stretch it and say maybe... No, actually none of the other matches work because Fiend versus Brock doesn't work because Brock can't do the job for The Fiend and The Fiend can't stop the momentum for that character right now. The Fiend versus Adam Cole just buries Adam Cole because there's no way in which he could get like a DQ or anything over The Fiend like he could with getting a dirty, dusty finish against Brock. So it just doesn't work for anybody. So I think kudos for WWE for finding a way to build different programs for those guys.
Yeah, they learn from their mistakes and they're just not going to book it despite the fact that it doesn't make sense.
Secondary title main triple threat.
Right.
That would be great.
With the U.S. champion AJ, Shinsuke, and Roderick Strong. Hopefully Roderick Strong loses the belt and him and Undisputed Era can just have a regular Survivor Series match. Not to double back, but remember how we were talking about the plane? Mm-hmm. The fact that they already incorporated NXT into Survivor Series already made me know this was a work. Like, this was the angle and this is why such and such wasn't going to be here. Because they were selling the Fiend on Miz TV.
Facts.
Doing an interview the next day. So it was like, you weren't getting that. You weren't ever getting that. How the hell is the Fiend going to come out and just start a new feud with the Miz? Because that's what's going to happen. He's going to like mandible claw him and put him down or something like that. So that kind of was the greatest setup of the year.
Moving on, we got Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler squaring off in a backstage video interview. They're getting in each other's grill and talking about Survivor Series, and it's made official that the triple threat Women's Championship match will happen at Survivor Series. SmackDown Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion, NXT Women's Champion. It's going to be Bayley versus Becky Lynch versus Shayna Baszler. Who got the best of this one as far as a promo matchup between the two? Did you guys see this promo?
Yes. It was kind of even.
I think so too.
I feel like Becky is trying to make up where her nose dropped the ball last Survivor Series and get over that match that she was trying to deliver with Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey and Becky didn't go over like it should have, but Shayna Baszler and Becky is definitely a better match.
Yeah.
Because they're the brawlers.
And with Bayley involved too, Bayley's a great wild card in that
New
match.
heel Bayley. Yeah,
Definitely.
Are you excited for the match?
I am. I'm not mad at it. Definitely not mad at it.
So the TV main event, Seth Rollins versus Adam Cole for the NXT Championship. They set it up ahead of time with Triple H and Seth getting into it backstage. Seth wins by DQ because Cole's squad, the Undisputed Era, interrupt. How did you feel about this match? How did it compare to Cole versus Bryan from SmackDown the previous week?
Not as good.
I thought it was still a pretty good match, but yeah, I think, again, the finish has so much to do with how we view a match. And basically, Daniel Bryan was like, I'll do the job. And he did it.
Yeah.
To his word.
Good level of professionalism.
And Seth, for, I think, personal reasons, and also probably WWE wanted to try to protect him because he just took a big loss. He couldn't, or wouldn't do the job and take a loss. So where we are with that.
If he didn't take the loss or put him over, he would just would be eating all the words of all their gripes all these years.
Yeah.
So it kind of just something that has to be done. But, the bitter motherfucker in him is probably going to come out and say, damn, they didn't give me no WrestleMania main event until I started my own movement. So, I don't know. Like, I'm not mad at it. I'm glad that he's being a team player for the cause.
Do you think also maybe the DQ finish here hints that they might be plugging this for Survivor Series? If they're doing Brock versus Ray as one champion sort of clash, do you think they might do Seth versus Cole again for NXT championship?
I'm not mad at that. Or
I think it makes sense.
Seth versus Cole versus Daniel Bryan for the belt.
I mean, I'd watch it.
I mean, that would be cool.
I'd watch it.
All right, now coming back, we're going to discuss NXT from November the 6th, this past Wednesday night. So, we're continuing the invasion angle, but in reverse. AJ Styles and the AC show up to the NXT, blah, blah, blah.
AC.
So, getting back to it, we got NXT from November 6th, this past Wednesday night. We're going to continue the NXT invasion angle, but in reverse. We got AJ Styles and the OC showing up to NXT to take on all comers and test the brand in the wake of their previous week's debaucherous invasion of SmackDown and Raw. Do you guys think that the OC is the best group to do this role as the reverse invaders, if you will? Do you think that was a good selection?
I mean, one, there's a rule in wrestling. Can't be mad at nothing AJ Styles does because he's phenomenal.
He is phenomenal.
So you don't have to worry about the job getting done. It will be done. I'm not mad at it. I think the fans respected it. I don't think they probably expected it. And it's AJ Styles. How can you get mad at AJ Styles in a small room? Like, that's always a win. It worked.
Grayson?
Yeah, no disagreement from me. I'm always down to see AJ Styles, especially with around talent that can actually, I don't know, show off his best.
So yeah, I think it's a good idea. In particular, I saw somebody on the internet point this out. I didn't think of it at the time, but this works really well because none of those dudes were ever in NXT. So many of the main roster stars were in NXT at some point in, pretty much recent memory too.
Yeah.
AJ came straight over from New Japan. Same goes for Anderson and Gallows. So they didn't have the opportunity to go through the NXT system. So them coming in and talking shit about NXT makes perfect sense because no one can be like, hey man, you used to be on NXT. They're like, no, we didn't. Fuck NXT.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant.
So Shayna Baszler takes on Dakota Kai in a non-title match to see if Kai has what it takes to join Rhea Ripley's team for the upcoming War Games. So they're doing a women's War Games pay-per-view match. Baszler dominates at the end of a really good match between the two and gets the win with the Kirifuda clutch submission. Is there a more stacked division in all of wrestling right now than the NXT women's division?
Yes.
Which one?
The men's division.
I don't know. Do you think top to bottom there is like NXT women's is pretty deep right now? They got like 5 or 6 people that can go for the belt this moment.
They run deep in heritage. They're not as deep as the Raw roster. They're not as deep as the SmackDown roster. I mean, yeah, they're more over than the Impact roster. Yeah, they're better than the AEW roster. But that's because they have the most women though, and probably the biggest names when it comes to women. Like it's probably 5 women wrestlers who aren't with WWE who probably matter in women's wrestling total. The rest of them are probably.
Know.
I mean, if y'all love Rio, I don't love Riho.
Tessa definitely.
Tessa's definitely up there.
Me and Grayson were talking about Tessa earlier off mic about how AEW sorely needs Tessa Blanchard.
For sure.
But I don't think she'll leave Impact. I think they're treating her well over there. They're giving her the kind of storyline she wants.
Tell her dad to call.
Yeah.
Just tell her dad to make the call. That's all.
But yeah, I think personally that the NXT women's division, I mean, you got Baszler at the top. We all talked last time about how much we love Shayna Baszler. You got Rhea Ripley's really badass. Bianca Belair is amazing. You got Io Shirai. Candice LeRae can go after the belt. They got, who else? Dakota Kai is on a string of wins recently. I like Mia
Belair.
Yim. I know.
They are deep. They are deep.
You know what's unique about it too is there's a lot of people in the upper mid card, almost main event. Like there's a bunch of people that could potentially challenge Shayna Baszler at the moment. The way they're setting it up, they're doing a good job of building characters.
I mean, but you think about it, Shayna Baszler's time on NXT possibly could be coming to an end in the next month or two, or like I would say at least by Royal Rumble Mania. Like she'll be wrestling somebody somebody on the main roster either at Royal Rumble, or she'll be in the Royal Rumble, possibly winning it, going to Mania.
Yeah.
I mean, Shayna Baszler is definitely she's probably the baddest heel, like the meanest out of
toughest.
Like I think Sasha Banks is the best heel when she's in full boss mode, but overall Shayna Baszler might be the meanest, the toughest.
Shayna Baszler is like a female Brock Lesnar in a certain sense.
Right,
The way
she's
she
very
goes about her
legitimate.
business.
Anger.
She seems like very legitimate, like she really would like fuck you up like in a dark alley somewhere. And
I don't
have no
hit
remorse.
women, but I probably have to really fight Shayna Baszler.
Like yo, she's no joke.
take you on,
She's
man.
no
She'll-
joke.
Possibly. Take you down, man.
Possibly, but I'm going down swinging. Sorry. My apologies.
We're gonna get canceled.
Oh man. Keep paid bills. Make sure you pay bills.
I did it. I'm leaving that shit in. So the OC comes back towards the end of the show, and you got the OC taking on Tommaso Ciampa, Matt Riddle, and Keith Lee.
New stable alert.
Match ends in a new contest with a big brawl between the OC and basically the entire NXT men's division, but something happens during this locker room clearing brawl where Finn Balor and AJ Styles lock eyes and both do some fucking finger guns at each other and start beating ass simultaneously. How hard did you mark out when they teased an alliance right there? Because I fucking did.
I mean, this is probably about the third time they tried to do this right in front of my eyes.
I was running to the drawer to grab my Bullet Club t-shirt.
Did I wear? No, I didn't wear a Bullet Club t-shirt today. It's due. You got to make Kenny regret going to AEW somehow, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think like how else can you try to grab? It seems like a brilliant move to like counter program AEW with like a potential Bullet Club angle, like
the real Bullet Club,
right,
the better Bullet Club,
right, like
the elite Bullet Club.
What better way to kind of get AEW people to watch NXT than to be like, hey, you love these guys, like. Yeah. These are the other guys from the faction. Like
real quick catch-up point, just to do a little bit of expository stuff again for those that don't know. Bullet Club was a New Japan and later Ring of Honor heel stable, sort of modeling themselves after like NWO or something. And Finn Balor, now on WWE / NXT programming, was the original founder of the group. In Japan, they were sort of evil foreigner heels, but they were, non-Japanese dudes, so it's the exact opposite of the American stereotype of like Yokozuna or like Tajiri or some shit.
Yeah.
Bullet Club, originally founded as a heel faction by Finn Balor when he was Prince Devitt in New Japan. He leaves and goes to WWE, and they fill in AJ Styles as the next leader. He comes sort of out of nowhere from TNA. He's probably pound for pound, maybe. He's in the top 5. Dude is a goat. Top 10, maybe?
He is the only non-WWE guy that I'm probably going to put in my top 5.
AJ Styles is a person where if you're interested in wrestling, you should go back and watch some matches from all phases of his career, from the beginnings in TNA to New Japan to now, because he does aerial maneuvers and power maneuvers, and his moveset and skill set is... It's basically if you took a creative character and you just put all the shits on 10. He can kind of do anything.
Yeah. He's had classics for like the past 15 years. I mean, just like great matches.
Classic after classic after classic.
So you got AJ Styles and Finn Balor, 2 former heads of Bullet Club, possibly reuniting in WWE with Anderson and Gallows, who are the former enforcers for AJ Styles when he was in the Bullet Club, in Japan. Observer and other sources say that AJ Styles lobbied backstage to have the OC and Finn Balor versus the Undisputed Era at Survivor Series as the Survivor Series match. One, do you think there's any chance in hell that's happening? And two, what would you think of that match? Do you want to see that? Or how would you want to see those two factions go at it in the future?
It's due.
Do you think they would rebrand the OC? Because, first of all, OC is a dumbass name, in my opinion. I don't know how you feel. It's the original club. Basically, they're referencing
It's like
that they
a
were in the
veiled
Bullet
reference,
Club.
right?
It should have been the only club.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Also, the other thing is they weren't the original club because, again, like we said just now, Finn Balor was the original club.
Right.
But they could rebrand. What do you think, Grayson? You got any interest in an OC Finn Balor Undisputed Era thing?
I would love to see either them feud or see them turn into like a mega stable.
A fusion.
Yeah, I'd like to kind of see them turn into a mega stable and they could kind of like hold belts on like all the shows.
Do you think they could get rid of the dumb shit? I'm just burying the name, but I think it's dumb. Do you think they could get rid of the OC by? This might be a weird take. Do you think they can get rid of the OC by having AJ and the boys join the Undisputed Era? Maybe they flip on them. They come into NXT and they're like, "We're gonna kick all your asses," and they're like, "You know what? I like the way you dickheads operate."
Again, I'd take it. I'd
Represent
like it.
Undisputed Era on the main roster.
I'd like it. They could brand, make some dope T-shirts.
It's a
Old
better
WWE
name and a
something.
hotter faction right now. So if they want to go up against the actual Bullet Club and the Elite and the Inner
Right.
Circle in AEW, they got to do something. So Friday Night SmackDown, November 8th, broadcasting previously taped from Manchester, England. Also, we are not going to cover this upcoming week's Raw, but technically we could because they already taped that also in Manchester. And I guarantee you there's dudes with spoilers all over the internet.
Yes, I saw
haven't
that
been
there were
spoiled yet.
spoilers, but I opted not to look at them because I wasn't sure if we were going to talk about it.
So Friday Night SmackDown, previously taped in Manchester, England. They open the show with a goofy-ass promo by King Corbin. He comes up to talk about Survivor Series and the NXT invasion. And this is where, Rod, I feel like Vince gets the keys back a little bit because he just randomly blames the whole thing on Roman Reigns. Doing a great job, though, putting over Roman because Corbin is so fucking hated that Roman's been building up his esteem after having all the heat from the fans giving him shit for so many years.
I think the belt being on Seth got rid of Roman's heat.
I think so. I think that totally happened.
Even though he could get it all back with one title win.
That's right. Corbin comes out and says Roman Reigns has tiny dog testicles and that he's going to beat the crap out of him. He brings out doggy poop bags from his gear and says, "You're going to have to clean up the crap after the big dog lays it all over the ring." I can just picture Vince backstage and be like, "Oh, that's good shit."
Yeah, see, the only person I think that has enough ill will and negative heel heat in WWE is Vince himself.
Vince and Corbin are basically the
Well,
two.
yeah, I guess Corbin could maybe
Heel
job out
gods.
on the mic to Seth as well.
I think this segment gets Roman over more with the fans, but I will say how cringy the doggy poop bags, and they made the CGI Roman Reigns dog bark like a little chihuahua at some point on the Jumbotron. This is the kind of crap that made Moxley quit.
Yeah.
This is the kind of promo. Clearly Corbin is making the best of it, but this is the kind of stuff that John Moxley was like, "You want me to come out with a fucking dog shit bag? Is this what you want, Vince? This is the best. This is the best you could get." Anyway, moving on, we have a tag team match for the belts, the SmackDown tag team belts. The New Day challenges the champs, the Revival. Big E and Kofi, they win the belts. They go over in a big way, beat the Revival. Everybody in Manchester loses their fucking mind. Everybody globally seems to be huge New Day fans. And I just want to ask first, right off the rip, how long have the New Day been the most over act in WWE?
Forever.
It's been at least 3 years, at least.
Yeah, it's been a while. Again, I don't know when
7-time
it
champs
exactly
now.
happened. Somehow they got this awful gimmick over. I don't know. I mean,
Well, it's good that you brought that up, Grayson. How, if you were new to wrestling, if you wanted to describe to somebody that doesn't watch, how would you describe the New Day?
they're like these very brightly colored, like rainbow themed unicorns and pancakes, and they come out with like instruments and they play music and they dance and they throw pancakes into the crowd, and yeah, all their imagery is like rainbowy and unicorns and like
they have a cereal called Bootios.
It's just like a bunch of weird gimmicks slapped together that don't make any sense together, but they just own it all.
The Black Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, they're kind of like the black
male
Powerpuff
Girls.
Yeah.
I fell off of wrestling for a bit, and I got back in when the New Day were really getting over. And my friend Carrie said to me, "Oh, you're gonna love the New Day." And I was like, "What's their thing?" And he's like, "I don't know. They hoot like owls, and there's Bootios and pancakes." And I was like, "What?" And then like he's like, "No, just watch them. They're just charismatic. It's just like they're a bunch of friends traveling in the van, thinking of dumb shit to do." But I watched it, and I didn't understand why they were called the New Day. And then I realized, I looked into it more. They got themselves over in a big way, because when they debuted as a team, they were originally Vince or somebody at WWE did the classic, let's sort of profile and stereotype people. 3 black guys, let's do a preacher gimmick. So they were like a new gospel preacher gimmick heel team at first.
They were going to be like the Christian version of the Nation of Domination.
Yeah, that's basically how they said it.
Not, I would say, like, the Islam, pro-Muhammad, everybody got to die.
Nation Domination was lit.
Yes, facts. Shout out to Farouk and them.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, but they were going to be more of the the brother man preacher types versus the pro-black radicals.
Yeah, the Black Panther military.
Yeah, they wasn't going to go that route with it. But
they were trying to put them in that box, but then at some point they made a turn, and it just seems like, I honestly feel like they came up with all that goofy shit themselves, Grayson.
Pressure bust pipes, man, and they shitted out some diamonds with that one.
Yeah. See, I like to think of it as Vince or whoever were just like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and just like they were giving them weird fucking gimmicks, and they're like, no, we're gonna get this shit over. Like,
yeah, I think like they're like real life like friendships and rapport make all that goofy shit
and
work.
it really shines through. You can tell those guys love each other.
Definitely has a lot to do.
Yeah,
with,
they're nerdy as hell
with their success, like their interaction with their fans on the internet and Instagram and video game wise, like other levels of life that's not wrestling. Like they connect and they reach out. They're just going to be liked coming into the building. I made the network one day. I was at a Raw, and in the parking lot was the New Day giving out Philly cheesesteaks.
Nice.
So I have I'll screenshot that and post that to one of these social media sites that we got to make up. We need we need a Twitter.
Don't worry, we're gonna get Twitter. We're in the works.
Yeah, we out in these streets.
Message us on SoundCloud. There is a message function. If you have a profile, feel free to like and subscribe the channel. Feel free to comment or send us a message about what you want to hear more, what you like, what you don't like. Whatever you don't like, you can shove it up your ass, because I don't give a fuck.
I second that motion.
Anyway, does another tag team championship reign by the New Day do anything for you? How do you feel about them taking the belts off the Revival and changing the landscape of the Survivor Series match?
My feelings a tad bit, because I feel like the Revival have been due to put on one of those great Revival style matches, and I thought this was going to be it. I thought the main roster was going to actually see what Jim Cornette actually be marking out about online about the Revival with one of these matches. But put the New Day, going to get some entertainment.
Sami Zayn is backstage trying to convince Daniel Bryan to turn back heel and hang out with him and his dude Shinsuke. There's a match that he wants him to watch just to see how his heel dudes operate. So it's Cesaro and Shinsuke versus Shorty G and Ali. Shorty G, ladies and gentlemen. We're still going with that, right?
Yeah.
How do we feel about
size?
Shorty G.
Break it down. Tell me about Shorty G.
Shorty G sounds like you would be hanging out with what was that guy's name?
Godfather?
Like the Ali G.
So Shorty G, Chad Gable, Baron Corbin, a.k.a. Vince, named him Shorty G, and they're just rolling with it now because the guy's short. So they're calling him Shorty G. This is like some like elementary school playground dumbassery.
Pathetic.
It's bad. It's bad. Yeah.
I'm mad that Chad Gable's like selling this shit.
Yeah, he's got a Shorty G t-shirt.
Like
He's getting a check. I don't know. They're paying
We're
him.
still in the PG era. That the Shorty G's probably like 4 years too late.
Later on, Daniel Bryan is talking to Sammy backstage, and then the lights go out.
Dun 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 dun.
The Universal Champion, The Fiend, shows up, and they got that whatever the fucking noise is. It sounds like a cat getting his balls flicked, or a violin string getting broken.
Yeah, the Timbaland, Are You That Somebody, Baby?
Yeah. So Daniel Bryan gets slapped with the mandible claw by the Fiend. It looks like they're plugging a Daniel Bryan Fiend match, maybe at Survivor Series, maybe a program between the two. Does that do anything for you?
Maybe, because Daniel Bryan gets everybody over.
I mean, he can work, and Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt, they had a good match several years ago. It's possible they could catch lightning in a bottle twice.
My concern, I guess, with this, we haven't really seen him wrestle a Daniel Bryan style. What I'm assuming we're going to get from a Daniel Bryan match. We haven't really seen him do any wrestling. Like, does wrestling, like technical wrestling, make sense for this character?
I mean, not
Is
really.
it going to be in red lighting the whole fucking time?
It's going to be red lighting the whole time.
Like, Daniel Bryan in a technical wrestling match against The Fiend in red lighting. I don't know.
Hey,
there's like a disconnect in my head.
Sometimes,
until I see it.
Sometimes styles clashing can work out. I'm going to give Daniel Bryan the benefit of the doubt 10 times out of 10. He generally puts on a good match.
He'll get the job done.
Moving on from the world of WWE to the world of AEW.
Where is the bubbly?
It'll be the bubbly. Speaking of the bubbly, the
bubbly.
first thing I want to talk about, going back to our break when we were in hiatus for a moment.
Hiatus.
We had the emergence of the newest heel faction in wrestling, the Inner Circle.
Dun dun dun.
The Inner Circle emerges, as we talked about on last episode of the podcast. The first episode of Dynamite went off the air with a big old schmaz. And Jake Hager came out of nowhere, formerly Jack Swagger, and started beating ass. And we had Sammy Guevara, Jake Hager, Santana and Ortiz, formerly LAX, now Proud and Powerful.
Now they're X-Lax, right?
X-Lax. Proud and Powerful is actually kind of a dope name. It's growing on me. And of course, at the head of this, we got Chris Jericho, the heel champion currently in charge here. What do you guys think of the newest main event heel faction in all of wrestling?
It's gonna work, I guess.
Yeah?
I mean, it's all right. AEW with me right now is like,
shoot, man, shoot.
Shoot the shot.
okay, here we go. AEW.
Oh, he just put up the hood. He's going he's going Sith Lord on this.
I'm saying Hoodie Mellow.
It's too much for the fans, and I don't know if that's like even the right term, like giving the fans too much of what they want. Like, I feel like every time I look at Chris Jericho's new stable, it's just like the WWE's main event, like the TV show. Mm-hmm. Like all you did was put Chris Jericho on main event with Jack Swagger and Santana and Ortiz. I like all these people, but it's just like, I just gotta believe that this is a dope heel faction. Like, it's gonna work because of Jericho.
Right.
It's not going like if something happens to Jericho, this is irrelevant.
Right.
The building pieces of it is good. You giving some dudes a shot, getting some guys some recognition. I'm a Sammy Guevara fan. I met Sammy Guevara a few weeks ago by accident. You know, so it's just
Shout
like
out Sammy G, the Spanish
yes,
guy.
the Spanish guy.
Jericho's promo work. What do you feel about how different the promos feel versus like a WWE promo these days?
Not too off.
It seems like they're all allowed to shoot a little bit. Like Jericho had that one in the first Inner Circle speech. The people started chanting "We the People."
Yeah.
And he did that bad creative line. He said exactly. He said
Sweet
that he was like, Jake Hager is Jake Hagar, We the People is dead. It was a bad idea. It's bad creative. And that's the fans wanted to hear that. And so they get to cheer. But then Jericho, being the genius he is, like, he wants to show that he can shoot. And then after that, he realizes, oh, I'm the heel. I can't have the fans on my team. So I feel like he just improvised that line where he talked about how much he hates Dusty. He was like, I'm glad Dusty's not around anymore. Dusty Rhodes sucks. And just like, everybody's like, boo. Like, he got the heat back immediately by shooting. And I doubt he said, hey, Cody, can I tell everybody your dead old man sucks?
Yeah.
Again, talk about my dead old man. We're going to have problems.
You just set these hands.
Like, low-key, I would love John Moxley in the Inner Circle.
Yeah,
it just makes sense for the
John
feuds
Moxley
that he's taking on.
I like John Moxley as a lone wolf mercenary now.
He's like Omar from The Wire.
Yeah, exactly. So
Moxley's coming.
So we also had the tag team tournament while we were away, and how awesome am I for predicting the SCU would win the belts?
Did you really? I don't even remember.
I did. It's on the fucking tape. You listen back the first episode.
Yeah, major letdown for me. Major letdown for me.
Yeah, for me too, actually.
I like SCU.
Okay.
I'm cool with it.
I'm doing a little shooting today. I was disappointed with the tournament for one reason.
Yes.
How good all the first round matchups were didn't content. Like those matches, them last 3 matches probably could have got saved for the second round in the finals.
What do you think the best match of the tournament was?
Private Party versus the Young Bucks. That was the best match of the tournament for me.
I would agree. They came out for that might have been the first match of the tournament. They came out firing on all cylinders.
Yeah, I think the biggest disappointment for me is the lack of Luchasaurus in the tournament. I think that hurt a lot.
I heard that he got injured or something.
He got injured. Yeah, he got injured the day because it was right before the Philly show, so we were there. I hadn't heard the news. News broke like a couple hours before the show, and then Marco Stunt and Jungle Boy come out for the match against the Lucha Bros, and I'm like, wait, what?
So AEW Dynamite from Wednesday, November 6th, opens up with a match between Trent of the Best Friends facing off against Pac.
The bastard.
The bastard. Pac goes over with the brutalizer finish after a back and forth contest. I thought it was a really good match.
It's my favorite spot in that match. Had to do nothing with either one of them.
Well, I kind of want to... Are you talking about my man Orange Cassidy?
Yeah.
I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. Is Best Friends of Orange Cassidy AEW's answer to the New Day? Let's say. We were just talking about it.
Interesting.
Over tag team with great comedy and actually good in-ring too.
Not even close.
Obviously, they're not established or that good, but is that like sort of... Is that the role that they fill in that company? People fucking love Orange Cassidy.
Yes.
Really
I think
do.
he is like the comedic relief of the show, and he has no energy for it.
If you're not familiar, the Best Friends, it's Trent and Chuck Taylor, and their gimmick is just their homies, which is pretty simple. They just like hug each other and
Bailey's
high five
big
and
brothers.
shit. They're basically, Best Friends are kind of like on some Bailey shit in a certain sense.
Male Baileys.
And then they added Orange Cassidy, who's a great counterpoint, but still comedic because the Best Friends are all high energy. We love each other, hugs and high fives. And Orange Cassidy is, I would say, my favorite comedic wrestler right now.
He can't be
hands
arsed.
down.
He can't be arsed to do anything, really.
Orange Cassidy, like my dude just comes out wearing shades, full denim, can't be bothered to take off his shades. He regularly competes a whole match with his hands in his pockets. If you haven't seen an Orange Cassidy
kind of
match,
impressive when he gets up to the turnbuckle, not using his hands.
he does a springboard off the ground without using his hands.
Yeah, he kips up with his hands in his pockets. Like, this does some kind of athletic stuff.
I highly recommend, if you are interested in comedy wrestling, I highly recommend checking out Orange Cassidy matches. There's plenty online.
There's some on
YouTube.
YouTube. He just had a main event, actually, at an indie show a couple days ago that I caught. It was good. I mean, you haven't seen much of him wrestling in AEW yet, but he can actually wrestle some.
Who do you think is the most over tag team in AEW right now?
Honestly, I would maybe say Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy, but unfortunately, they haven't been able to be seen enough.
I think it's Private Party.
Private
that's
Party's
true.
lit.
Private Party are
Like,
very over.
one,
They're
their
very over.
style. Like, they're like Miami Party Boys, and they just in there having a good time. Like, the names of their moves are like they got a move called Silly String.
Silly String,
Like,
Gin and Juice.
Yeah.
Gin and Juice is their finisher.
They weigh in at 24-ounce cranberry. Like,
I made a note of that. Yeah, when they're introduced, they weigh in at 24 ounces of cranberry and vodka.
I think nobody's more over. Like, their entrance is lit. They come in through a
the
red
velvet
rope.
with the velvet rope with the bouncer. Like,
And Private Party, and they are also very good in-ring performers. Like we were saying, their match versus the Young Bucks was probably the best of the tag team tournament.
And that was
that
that
was
was
a
the
very
first
good
time
match.
I ever seen Private Party wrestle.
yeah.
Like, and I became a fan instantly. Like, goddamn, and they went over like that.
Yeah, they're like the only team.
Again, that's what I don't like about the Bucks, but I understand it. Like,
In that
it's just
instance,
a team that needs to be put over.
In that instance, it was a good decision.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The match, the Trent match,
Yeah.
the finish
Yes.
of the match was like a great big botch.
How he didn't kick out.
Yeah. The Trent match. Pac hit the Black Arrow, which is
Yeah.
like a twisting shooting star press that's absolutely incredible to see.
Yeah.
Which could have been a finish in
Yeah.
like any other match, basically. Trent doesn't kick out. The rest stops.
Yeah.
At 2.5, and everybody kind of looks around. The wrestlers looked a little bit confused. The crowd starts to boo.
Yeah.
I don't know if you blame it on Trent should have kicked out, I guess.
Yeah. Trent should have kicked out.
The ref should have obviously just counted 3.
So next up, we got Cody cutting what some people on the internet and in the dirt sheets and on the radio are saying is the best face promo in quite some time. Strong words by a lot of people. Even Jim Cornette was a fan of this, and he likes to take every opportunity to fucking bury AEW. So he's cutting a promo against Jericho for their title match coming up at Full Gear tonight. He basically says that since he's management, just like his dad was management, just like Cowboy Bill Watts, he's talking about managers who also wrestle. He's saying he doesn't want to be seen as giving himself the belt. So what he's going to do is if he doesn't win at Full Gear, he's never going to challenge for the belt again. He said that Jericho needs the youth of AEW more than they need him, and that Jericho saying that he's got a silver spoon in his mouth while Jericho himself was the son of a famous NHL hockey player, and that he calls Jericho a stupid dick. Huge pop.
Ooh, burn.
Huge pop, massive AEW chants, everybody's psyched. How do you feel about this promo?
I mean, it was great. People were talking about it being the best of the year or whatever. It'd be hard to argue about that.
I think basically people are saying it's the best because the WWE face promos, they tend to lack the sauce, that the improvisation and the anger that Cody brought to it, I think was fresh. And I want to say I think that AEW leans on cussing way too much. They love to throw some potty words out there because they're PG-14 or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. It's because they're not PG. Like,
they want
it's
to
just
prove that they're not
rules
PG.
and guidelines you still got to walk within WWE. I'm pretty sure WWE, if they could get off a couple of those, dams and shit.
They probably could on Raw.
Adam Page calling everything cowboy shit. He's doing some cowboy shit. Calling dudes stupid dicks. I think,
Stupid dick. Oh, no.
But how do you feel about the build to this match? Like, over the past, month, they've been really building Cody Jericho.
Just like Jericho said, this is the biggest match of Cody's career. Like it or not, it is. It probably should have been the first match. Again, like the Elite, letting everybody else get over first and not establishing their positions within the company, at the top and just working their way up like all the other working guys. I don't like it because we know you guys are the bosses. We know you guys are the best, in the building. I think you guys should be automatically put yourselves in those feuds and sell the company like it should be sold. I mean, but Jericho and Cody, I'm excited.
If you would, I don't know, pitch this match to me like 5 years ago, I don't know if I would have been nearly as jazzed for it as I am now.
I think they build it the right way. I think with the way that they're allowed to cut promos, I think Jericho came off as a heel calling he called Cody a spoiled millennial bitch.
Yeah.
Oh.
He attacked Dustin.
Yeah, he's doing heel work the right way. He's talking about his dead father. He's building the heel character in a way. WWE, they have a hard time with baby faces. They have a lot of good heels, but the heels in WWE, they're almost too likable on a certain level. With the exception of like Baron Corbin, like you think about the OC heels,
like
or
Samoa Joe,
dudes like that. Jericho's walking a really good line of just being a piece of shit that you want to see get beat up.
Yeah.
He's playing the role well because at the end of the day, you want to see Cody beat the shit out of Chris Jericho.
Yeah, he's doing, oh man, like the brawl that they had a couple weeks ago in the concession stand, like, and Jericho's like going and like getting security and like showing the tickets, and he's just like having this tantrum. Like, it was just like great, like sniveling, like chicken shit heel. Like, you want to see him get his ass kicked so bad.
I was gonna say, is Jericho not the greatest antagonist of all time?
He might be. He's
And
one of the better
that's including
heels.
Ric Flair.
Yeah, Jericho is, as far as like character work and promo work, he's definitely up there with Flair and those cats. I mean, he's been doing it for so long, and he's reinvented the wheel with it so many times. It's not the same. It's not like he's been working the same character for 20 years. So at the end of the show, TV main event, Adam Page and Kenny Omega of the Elite versus Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho of the Inner Circle. Jericho wins after hitting the Judas Effect. And then...
Hold on.
Yeah?
The sloppiest Judas Effect that was ever on TV.
Isn't every... I'm
That
putting
one
over the
didn't
Judas...
look
I
clean.
love the Judas
I love
Effect.
It. That camera angle wasn't clean from the main camera view. That joint got to be like from right under the turnbuckle. That is the best angle.
It's true. But I will say, I'll defend the Judas Effect to the death. And actually, I kind of like it when it's sloppier. Again, it's just a great... heel heat. It's just fucking...
Yeah.
Like I said, Rodney's in the corner doing the Judas Effect right now.
Judas Effect and
Just
really
rolling.
hard.
Yo, the Judas Effect in the club is the nastiest move. Just like being like, hey, ladies, we want to dance? Just...
I think Ludacris has written a song or two about that. Yeah.
But so Jericho wins with Judas Effect, and because it's an episode of AEW Dynamite, it ends with a fucking schmaz.
Yeah. It was the best schmaz they've had thus far.
Still, they end every show with a schmaz.
Yeah, I think it loses its.
How do you feel about the locker room clearing brawls?
They need to do it less. Is how I feel about it. It works this time. I think it works really well this time, but
It's worked for a month.
It loses it's losing its luster for me, for
they
sure.
haven't done a legit stable on stable match yet.
They did the schmaz. They got the Elite and Inner Circle brawling. Cody and Jericho going at it. You got the Young Bucks and LAX, or Proud and Powerful, whatever the fuck you want to call them, going at it. You got Jake Hager coming in to fuck around. You got Moxley coming out of the crowd with the fucking bat to go head-to-head with Kenny Omega, teasing their match.
With the broom.
I believe Pac comes out. Adam Page comes out. Basically, they're just showing all the dudes who are going to fight at the pay-per-view, beating the living shit out of each other. To your point, Grayson, I'm getting a little tired of the schmaz, but this one was the most effective because it's a go-home show to a pay-per-view.
Yeah, it made more sense than the other ones.
All these guys got beef, man, and we're going to settle it now. About a month in, what are your overall impressions of AEW Dynamite?
I like it. It's always the show I watch first. With that said, I think really the biggest issue that I have with it, they just don't have enough talent. And as a result, I'm already kind of getting tired of seeing the same people wrestle every week.
They don't have enough talent, or the talent that is there isn't really carrying how they should be carried. Because I feel like for a 2-hour show, they have plenty of talent. You know what I mean? And they have plenty of room to get people over. I just feel like, one, it has to develop a little bit more. That's probably the only unfair way I'm judging it, because a month worth of data, I can pick what I like and what I don't like. Right. But I'm not going to just sit up here and act like it's the greatest thing I've ever seen, because it's not. It's good. It's very good wrestling. It's a very good show. Like, I can't sit up here and hate on it and not like it. But it's things that they got to get better with. But it's like, it's reasons why I want to watch AEW. I want to finally see the Young Bucks on American TV. I want to see Kenny Omega on American TV with some English announcers. I want to see some good matches. I want to see y'all, if y'all going to put on some good matches, let's work.
I got to say, for my taste, WWE, Raw, and SmackDown have the best talent. I would say that NXT has the best matches. And I would say that AEW, surprisingly for me, is the best sports entertainment. I think AEW...
Hold on. Are they sports entertainment? Are we labeling them sports
I'm going to label them sports entertainment
I
because...
see a lot of entertainment in that sporting event.
Yeah. I'm telling you, that's not what I was expecting. But I think AEW, for my taste, correct me if I'm wrong, for me, I think AEW is bringing the promos, the packages, the sports entertainment angles better than WWE right
That's
now.
an interesting... I think I probably would have to agree with you. I mean, NXT isn't...
Now,
to me,
they
isn't
don't
a
do
very
that.
So let me
sports
ask you this.
entertainment.
NXT is the best
NXT is
pro
just
wrestling program.
Do y'all
in this
count?
country.
Do y'all count the YouTube of AEW?
Considering I watch it every week, it's hard for me to like take that out of my mind. It's interesting. I talked to like my uncle who watches on TV exclusively. He doesn't see any of the YouTube stuff, and I find that I'm like having to explain
Because
character
I feel like
stuff
it's
at
two
times.
different. You're saying two different things if you're not following online.
Yeah.
Also, because prior to them getting on TNT, everybody was promoting off their own social media, like their next match or their next card or what promotion they're working for. So it's like their YouTube was kind of like a big part of their following.
Yeah,
so
being
it's,
the elite.
and they haven't
again,
slowed down though. It's like they've gotten they're doing more interviews and talking more and continuing storylines in the back via YouTube, and that's off TNT. So it's like, if you're not really watching all of that, which can turn into as many hours as wrestling as Vince McMahon has a week, you're gonna be behind, and it's not all gonna make sense. As it's going it probably makes sense when you got all the content or watched all the content, and then you're actually watching the show. Like, okay, now I'm caught up on every single thing and not just the 2 hours I watched this week or in moving weeks. Like,
I will say that I love being the elite, but I haven't been watching a lot lately. I kind of skip around with it, so I'm actually missing a lot of the stuff. I've only been watching the show live on TV, and I still feel like the promos you're getting on the show, the video packages, the way they're building these matches, I still feel the same way. I still feel like it works, and that I think it's some of the strongest sports entertainment, if you want to call it, style of a wrestling show. I'm really... I'm impressed with that because it's not what I was expecting and it's not what I thought I wanted, but I'm enjoying the show.
I'm curious to see what happens at the pay-per-view. This will be the first pay-per-view that we have that is happening after the TV show has been going on for like a month or so, I guess it's been like...
Feelings will change maybe
like
in the
that.
next 3 hours.
Yeah, the pay-per-view might it's been building to this, This is like, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
I'll be
curious.
critical next week. I'll be very critical of this pay-per-view next week. Don't piss me off.
Yeah.
Yes, next week we will be we're watching it now tonight, and then next week we'll start our show with recapping and talking about AEW and Full Gear. So, with that in mind, let's run over some predictions for tonight's card at Full Gear.
Dr. Priestley versus Britt Baker. I'm pretty outspoken about my love for B. Priestley. I want B. Priestley to win. I think B. Priestley should win. I don't really get the Britt Baker love. I think B. Priestley's going to win. I think B. Priestley should be the champ.
Listen, Britt Baker is going to win because she's Adam Cole's baby.
That's true.
Whoa, wait a second. B. Priestley is Will Ospreay's
But
girlfriend.
Adam Cole, but they're not but they're not in competition with New Japan.
But this is Adam Cole, baby.
I just want to see a good match between the two because I think, like as we've talked about in the past, the AEW women's division's pretty light. They're both good wrestlers. I want to see a good match. I don't really have a prediction because I don't know if winning does. I'd be interested to see where the storyline is. I'll say Britt Baker wins just to build her as being stronger. But B. Priestley's a good heel. They could use her. Next up, what do we got?
Joey Janela and Shawn Spears.
Janela for the loss, actually, because he can lose and it not matter.
I fucking love Joey Janela. He can do whatever he wants and it won't matter. He is just like, Joey Janela, look up some of the dumbass deathmatch bumps he's taken over the years. This dude also, as a guy from Jersey, I gotta rep Jersey and Joey Janela. He's the man. He's just like the dude at the Asbury Park, he's like the dude at the Asbury Park boardwalk who's just stapling cigarettes to his arm, trying to get like somebody to pay attention.
Yeah, he's just wants to be on Jackass so bad.
Just lit off of Everclear, doing backflips off the pier. He's the shit. I like Joey Janela. I'm kind of with Rod. I think Sean Spears wins.
He needs the win.
I think this is going to be a good match because Joey Janela is still out to prove that he could do. He's still out to, like everybody in AEW. He's out to shut up Jim Cornette and prove that he can actually wrestle.
I'm gonna go against both of you. I think that Joey Janela will win because honestly, where's Sean Spears been? He got all this heat for the chair thing. Started calling himself this chairman. He has Tully Blanchard, who you'd think they'd want to use. I don't know, man. Sean Spears is like.
Which is why he needs a win.
I was going to say, Sean Spears is like borderline jobber territory to me right now. I'm going to be honest.
Ooh, you think he's a good hand?
All right, next match. Adam Hangman Page versus the Bastard Pac.
I'm rolling with Pac.
I got to roll with Pac, too. I think this is sort of building still. I don't think... Whatever's going on with these two... It's not over yet. I think Pac wins. I don't know if he taps Page or knocks him out.
He should.
I don't know if he's gonna though. I think it might be like a Black Arrow or like a dusty finish sort of.
Yeah.
It might be some heel shit. I don't quite know, but they want to protect Page, I bet. But Pac kind of has to. For me, Pac has to go over here.
It seems like they're kind of teasing maybe a heel turn for Adam Page, or at the very least like. Maybe a gimmick change, a character change. So
please bury this motherfucker.
So I think Pac's gonna win. It seems like they're building Hangman towards some sort of change, shift, whatever. And I think he's gonna have to hit rock bottom before we're gonna get him. I don't know, at his full potential.
Well, it hasn't helped Kenny yet.
Yeah, it seems like they kind of dropped that with Kenny and they just gave it to Page.
Yeah.
Next up we have. Everyone's favorite, Riho versus Emi Sakura.
Riho retains, but I don't care. I'm actually super nonplussed on this match.
I will personally be smoking during that match, so
that might be the match to do it.
Oof. I guess if there would be any match to do it, that would probably be my choice as well.
Again sucks because again this just speaks to the weakness of the AEW women's division.
Riho.
Riho is okay, but she's very underweight, and so the physics of her moves don't really read. She doesn't have like the sauce of like a young Rey Mysterio or somebody to pull off the I don't weigh more than a feather, but I could kick your ass. And Emi Sakura is just a little too old. I don't think she has it anymore.
Riho's very Joshi. I've been watching a lot of Joshi, Joshi's like Japanese women's wrestling. I've been watching a lot of Stardom, which is where like Riho was from. And yeah, she's very, very Stardom, very, very Joshi. It's almost like teenage girl idol wrestling. At least a lot of them are kind of that way.
But a lot of them hit a little bit harder.
Yeah, Riho hits very soft, and it's all very kind of slow. But I think we might get a good match here. Part of that might be a language thing, you know? In my mind, personally, I think that could be part of it. So, Emi Sakura, she used to train Riho. They worked together a bunch. We might actually get a bit smoother of a Riho match for once.
Could be a surprise.
But yeah, I think we're all slightly apathetic towards this match. I'd rather see the Britt Baker B Priestley match here, but
it's Kenny's fault.
It's Kenny's fault.
Again, like I said before, they're having Kenny use his like Japanese Rolodex and bringing these ladies.
But here we go. New Japan just bought freaking Stardom, so the pipeline might be cut off at this point.
We'll see how this goes.
That might catastrophically hurt AEW's women's division and kind of what Kenny's vision, I'm assuming, for the women's division was. He loves Joshi wrestling.
And clearly New Japan has a hard-on for Kenny Omega right now. Meltzer says they tried to get him banned or give him some shit from trying to get into the country. Which, again, I don't know what sort of jurisdiction New Japan has to ban an individual from Japan, but...
He's not one of us.
Antonio Inoki, man, that shit runs deep.
All right. Next, we got the tag team championship triple threat.
Woo!
We got the champions SCU versus the Lucha Brothers versus Private Party.
It's probably going to be retained,
Yeah.
but I'm rooting for Private Party tonight.
I think the SCU retains,
I think
but
they're gonna steal the show.
I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's going to be the best match of the night. Maybe I think they could steal the show with this one.
Absolutely.
If SCU doesn't retain, the Lucha Bros are going to win on some heel shit and go mega heel. And they could hold the belt. I think Private Party, it's too soon for them to have the belt.
Yeah, I personally am rooting for anybody but SCU probably. I guess I'm a
My
bit of...
boys, this is the shittiest town that your mama ever took a shit in, or whatever.
See, I feel like
They say
they've
shit
been
a lot
saying
on-
that less because they're now faces.
Yeah.
I feel like they're faces now, and they don't do that anymore.
People
which
love
is
this is the worst.
they
town.
do, but I haven't heard them say it
Is
in a
Christopher
while.
Daniels
I feel
showing
like they
up
haven't
tonight?
done it in like a month.
I don't think Christopher Daniels is showing up. I think he's legit injured. I think
Is he actually legit injured? I really thought that was a work.
it could be a fucking workout. Give me a fucking.
Who do
name.
I think is gonna win? I guess the Lucha Brothers. I don't think Private Party is their time yet. Yeah, Lucha Brothers.
Okay.
Word. All right, next match: Young Bucks versus Santana and Ortiz. Proud and powerful.
Young Bucks win
Young Bucks.
because they're thirsty for a win.
The only members of the elite winning tonight are the Young Bucks.
I agree. I think that the Young
Cody
Bucks.
by DQ.
I agree. I think exactly. I agree. I think we're all like literally on the same page. Yeah, Young Bucks are gonna beat Santana and Ortiz so that people get a little bit of vengeance for all the inner circle bullshit.
Huh, man. Again, I'm on the opposite side of you guys. Actually,
Ooh.
I think Santana and Ortiz will and should win because they haven't really had a match yet, and so this will put them over.
That's right.
This will put them over to some extent. They had one squash match that was like 2 minutes long.
If they have Proud and Powerful win, do you think they're gonna do some heel shit on like a heel finish so that Young Bucks can save face a little bit? Because they've been eating shit. That would also give a little bit more heel heat.
that could maybe work. That could maybe work. I mean,
What do you think, Rob? Where you at?
I think the Bucks win this one tonight. I just think the Bucks win.
This isn't like a hardcore match or anything, right?
Nah.
Yeah,
no, there's no stipulation.
Yeah, Santana and Ortiz, they definitely can get down and dirty with some hardcore stuff. So I think maybe they do win on some dirty heel stuff.
But they can't get a DQ because obviously we're all thinking there's a DQ in the main event.
I was definitely predicting a DQ. But you know what? Yeah, I think that's just WWE having brainwashed us to some extent. I don't know. There's a different company being booked by different people. So
Yeah, a dude saying he's not going to do something. A guy saying that I will never compete for the belt if I lose is just screaming DQ.
Yeah.
Because that's not a loss.
All right, so before that match, we got John Moxley versus Kenny Omega. It's
Woo!
unsanctioned lights out match. We don't actually know if that will be the last match or if the championship will be the last match.
No decision.
Who knows? You say no
contest?
decision?
No contest. No
Ooh.
decision.
Interesting, controversial.
Well, this is interesting because it is just an unsanctioned match fight, which I love. By the way, I love it when dudes go, I don't want you to do this. It's too violent. It's too brutal. I won't stand for it. But if you want to do it Saturday night while we're filming a pay-per-view.
I mean, I'm always
it
down
in
for a
right
little bit of
before the main
ECW
event.
stuff.
I love the psychology.
Some CZW John Moxley type stuff. Like,
I'm excited. I love John Moxley. I'm curious to see how nasty him and Kenny get. I kind of want this to be pretty bloody. I don't want to be too much of a ghoul, but I want to see some nasty shit.
as long as nobody gets MRSA.
Ah, shit. This is hard to call. I think if anybody's going over here, I think Kenny has to go over storyline wise, but I think Moxley wins on some this is his turf kind of thing. Like this is his
Kenny
type of
loss.
match.
Boom.
Yeah, I agree. I think Moxley wins. This is a match that is made for Moxley. You know, and I wouldn't be surprised if Moxley wins and then they have a sanctioned match because Moxley's like, see, I can fucking beat your golden boy, blah, 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 blah. And then they have a match and then
they do
normal
like a
stipulations.
And then they do and then they do a tiebreaker. They go Cole Gargano on it.
Oh, they do
And they
best
do a
of three,
fucking
then
rubber
Iron Man.
And they do a rubber man Iron Man match. That'd be lit.
Yeah, so I think Moxley's gonna win as well. I think he'll win. Next match, Jericho versus Cody for the championship.
Main event. Jericho versus Cody for the championship.
I got Cody winning, but like my man Grayson said, Jericho's walking out with the belt.
Cody winning. Yeah, I have Cody winning by DQ. You know, maybe
only because he said he'll never challenge for the belt again if he loses.
Right.
I agree. That was a big tell.
Yeah, and
At
granted,
least from unless, like you said, they're trying to swerve us as WWE fans.
I have some people that I've heard around the internet, you know, saying that they really think that Cody's just gonna lose. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Cody won by DQ. It'd be a little bit cheap. It'd be very WWE. But booking wise, it makes some sense.
It's what's supposed to happen.
Yeah, and I don't want Jericho to lose the belt.
I would not hate it. Here's the thing.
I wouldn't hate it either. Really.
I think it's smart booking. I agree. I think Cody wins by disqualification. Jericho keeps the belt. But if that doesn't happen, I don't know. AEW is keeping me on my toes so far, so it'll be interesting to see.
All right, I have 2 follow-up questions for you guys for this pay-per-view. The first one is, do you think the MJF heel turn will happen tonight?
No.
No, from both of you. Okay, I agree with that.
I think they're going to let that marinate for a while.
And
January.
And the hot one, the like really out of left field one, do you think Marty Scurll appears? I think his Ring of Honor contract is up this month, either after this month or sometime this month. Do you think Marty shows up out of nowhere?
Hey, remember about a half an hour ago I said the Inner Circle is missing somebody? They're missing a real bad guy.
They're missing a villain.
They're missing the villain. He needs to come.
And you could have Marty come out, interfere. Cody wins the match.
That could save
Jericho keeps the belt. And Jericho has a new recruit to the Inner Circle, one Marty Scurll, the villain.
If Marty is available, I don't know enough about his contract, but that sounds like a great idea.
I'm going to check Marty's location as we speak.
Where the fuck you at,
Fat
bro?
Rod's going to Marty's Instagram to see if he can get any clues as to where Marty is.
Marty is just like at Jimmy's Seafood in Baltimore, just chowing down.
Nothing to see here.
All right, before we go to watch Full Gear, I'd like to do a couple of segments we around here are going to make regular additions. First up is going to be a thing where we go over our favorite stories for the wrestling media on the internet, radio and print, and yada yada of the week. This is WrestleMedia.
This segment is called WrestleMedia.
17 minutes ago, Marty Scurll posted that he is at the boardwalk on Venice Beach. Just to throw that out there.
Oh, man. Yeah. There goes that. Unless he's trying to swerve us all.
It's a fucking swerve.
Oh, yeah. And that's that. Oh, no. You remember what Keith was talking about before, though? You take pictures and then you post them at other times.
Clearly, Marty Scurll listens to Drake.
Yeah, clearly Marty Scurll listens to Drake or Scorpio Sky or Too Cold Scorpio or something. I guess my WrestleMedia, I sent this to the boys a couple days ago, the West Side Gun track called Lucha Bros. Some West Side Gun is known for making some wrestling references in his music in the past.
West Side Gun's in Griselda, right? The group from Buffalo, New York and all that.
Yeah. So I don't know, just dropped the track Lucha Bros. A lot of wrestling references in it. It's pretty dope.
It's fire. Yeah, the hook is flipping shit like the Lucha Bros. It's an Alchemist beat. Highly recommend it. Go check it out on YouTube or whatever streaming platform.
Yeah, go check it out wherever mixtapes are sold. Yeah.
It is fire. Honestly, I got a couple of things. One, I've really enjoyed the conspiracy theory we talked about with the planes in Saudi Arabia. That shit was a lot of fun. So many people. It's got to be up there with like JFK and shit right now. It's like second only to Epstein. I feel like somebody's going to say that like Jericho suicided Epstein or something. I don't know. What? Vince suicided Epstein, man. Anyway, my WrestleMedia piece is something I found on the internet on fanbite.com. somebody posted an article titled, "Was Jim Cornette, self-professed enemy of cosplay wrestlers, cosplaying in plain sight over the decades?" And and basically the entire article is this elaborate piece in which this person, let me bring it up real quick. Jim Cornette has been cosplaying as Lupin III for the past 20-some years, and gives some really convincing photos of him wearing his trademark suit and tie and stills from Lupin III movies and cartoons. If you don't know, Lupin III is a anime, and it's just super funny to think about Jim Cornette as being a closet weeb.
I was about to say, geez, Cold Keith, you sound like a closet weeb right now. You're such a nerd.
Fuck. And now, getting to the final segment on our program, we're going to talk about our Wrestlers of the Week. This is Wrestler of the Week.
I'm brawling in Japan like Stan Hansen. Clothes on your ass, put the boys in the back, then I take it to the stand, son. New Jack, no man's transit. You fucked, homie. So you wanna be the Wrestler of the Week. Yeah, you wanna be the Wrestler, but your spots of the Week.
All right, Rod, who you got?
My Wrestler of the Week this week goes out to the one and only Adam Cole for putting on 2 excellent matches.
Baby.
Kicking off the Invasion for Survivor Series and holding it down and letting everybody know NXT is no longer just the third brand, but the brand on the main roster.
In your fucking face.
All right, word. My Wrestler of the Week, I'm going to cheat a little bit, is something that happened a couple weeks ago, but we didn't have podcasts when it was happening, so whatever. Jonathan Gresham, Ring of Honor wrestler, goes by the name The Octopus. I don't know if you guys are familiar or not, but he and Jay Lethal are boys. Gresham's been kind of flirting with the heel turn for a bit, and Lethal's been trying to keep him staying good. So Gresham in a match, he turned full heel and again adopted the poison mist attack. Only it looks like oil because he's ink. Right, that's what I mean. Exactly. It looks like ink because he's the octopus. And I really like that gimmick. I have been actually joking around. I've been joking that he should do that for a while, so it's really funny that he's actually doing it.
And your last Wrestler of the Week
was Asuka when she started doing the poison mist as well. So I thought it was only fair that I give Jonathan Gresham a big up for that.
All right, my Wrestler of the Week. So I'm not going to piggyback entirely off of Rod, because I do agree Adam Cole was the man. He had the spot. Adam Cole, however, was my Wrestler of the Week last week. And just to switch it up, I'm going to take a page out of Rod's playbook from last time when he was talking a little bit about Kofi Kingston taking the L. I want to congratulate Daniel Bryan as the Wrestler of the Week. He did the fucking job.
He did the fucking job.
He did the job for Adam Cole. Amazing wrestler. Puts Adam Cole over in this great match. The highlight, the main event of that SmackDown that began the NXT invasion angle that we've talked about so much today.
He gets a raise. He did the job.
Daniel Bryan, the reason why he was able to do that job and was put in the position to be the guy to put Adam Cole over, he's said before that he refuses to ever perform in Saudi Arabia for political reasons. So him sitting stateside allowed him to be there. It was serendipitous, if not a total fucking work, as Rod says. And yeah, he was in the right place at the right time to put over Adam Cole and put on a match that's been one of the better ones on TV for months. So kudos, Daniel Bryan, my Wrestler of the Week. So
this Taz is on air.
So sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
We Full Gear is just starting. Is that? No, I'm like, that's not Joey Styles. But yeah, Taz is on commentary right now. I don't think we knew that was gonna happen. I definitely popped.
I fucking love Taz.
Yeah, it's definitely my favorite wrestler growing up.
Beat me if you can. Survive if I let you.
Taz. Dude, when he used to just wear a towel on his head outside of the fucking ECW arena and cut promos with just a sweaty ass towel on his head. He's like, yo, Sabu, I'm gonna fucking strangle you.
He had a very like Mike Tyson-y presence.
Yeah,
like,
he was so good.
And he's so just short and stocky and very believable. It's just this He's just gonna knock you the fuck out.
The human suplex machine. I love Taz.
Oh yeah.
Boom shakalaka.
Boom! And now we're gonna go watch Full Gear. So peace, everybody. We love you. Please subscribe, follow. Feel free to comment. Send us a message on SoundCloud.
Let us know you're listening.
I got follow me on Instagram at Cold Keith. Feel free to DM me questions about the pod as well. And we will be getting a Twitter page and posting WrestleMedia things and various shit that we find throughout the week. So we'll keep you posted on that.
Word.
Anybody else got anything to plug or some shit they want to say?
God is love, Reverend.
Early.
All right, if you're gonna shoot from the hip, you better empty the clip and buy some dope threads so you got the drip.
Word.
Peace.